those towers, that's 115,000 volts coming in from volts, coming in from volts. Okay, we're back. You're back, Joe.
Okay, we're back. Okay, Nick, Mike, I'll let you guys take over from here because we only got about another 10 minutes left. That's what I figured. We'll do 10 minutes of that and 10 minutes of you two with your thoughts and ideas.
Okay, I just want to finish my thought. Mike, you can go into it, what you got to do. I had, along with that tape, I had a 14-page testimony up there in Hartford with the first storm, Irene. I will be back up in Hartford with another testimony on the tape that you're just seeing right now. All they're doing is talking about trees. There's so many different types of storms. They've had 2 hearings up there so far already, and I haven't seen any solution to their problems. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Go to Mike.
Well, here's my problem. Everyone's blaming CL&P. Everyone's saying they did a terrible job. Nick, you worked at CL&P.
Right.
What happened?
35 years in that company. First of all, Jeff Butler took a big hit that he shouldn't have had to take, and I'll tell you why. The guy went through the entire storm, both 2 storms, with nobody getting killed. Nobody said anything about that. Nobody thanked the guy. I don't know what his problems are between him, management, and union, but I can tell you one thing. Nobody got killed. The next guy that's going to take over is going to have to live with those same credentials.
But what happened that made their, first of all, as a 35-year veteran of CL&P, do you think the response of CL&P was terrible, given the catastrophic circumstances?
It wasn't the response of CL&P that was terrible. It was the response of crews, outside crews coming from the other states. And when the other states got in trouble, they had to take care of their people first. It took 3 to 4 days for crews to get here. Once they got here, that's why Jeff Butler, I think, decided to take everything out. They took everything out ahead of time, but they took a long time to get here. I mean, you have to drive halfway across the country. We cannot have this happening all the time. We have to have a response time, just like the police and the fire department and the ambulance. You can't be 3 days away from a storm and then expect to put all this stuff back in service. Plus, the coordination, the first responders were the snowplows. The second responders were tree cutters that couldn't do anything out there because there was wires down in the lines.
There were live wires, or they didn't know if they were live.
So we were short of linemen, we were short of electricians, we were short of cable people, and we were short of community coordination out in the field. All these people back and forth on the radios. This storm was not as big as Storm Gloria. I don't care what they tell you. I don't care what anybody tells you, all the media, all the news. I was in Storm Gloria. It took us 8 years to put all the transformers that we lost, to put all of them, get them all back in service, new ones and everything else. 8 years. From 1985 to 1993, in our big transformer shop in Berlin, I worked 10 hours a day for 6 years to get that in. Not only me, but a whole bunch of us. So what's my point? People are talking out of there, and besides, I don't care what anybody says, safety first. Nobody got killed out there, and I'm thankful for that. And nobody ever got killed on one of my jobs either. I could say that now, 35, but I couldn't say it while I was working because I didn't want to jinx myself. But I'll tell you one thing. I didn't care what the public was thinking about when I was up there. I was thinking about you and the guys not getting killed and their families at home. I lost one of my bosses on the job. I seen him get killed. I was only a young helper at the time. After that, it set in my mind for 30 years.
What do you think, Joe? You think given the catastrophic circumstances it was bad?
Okay, the problem was the deregulation where they cut the crews, and we do not have the crews that we should have had here, which goes back and falls back on the government.
The federal government, the PIN.
Right.
See,
and you and I talked on your show about
this on Tuesday. We had this discussion.
The DPUC.
Where, the PIN had politicians get in, and they deregulate, and what happens? You don't have enough crews. Then they blame them for not having what they made them not have. You said the first responders were the snowplows. The snowplows couldn't get through because there were trees. The tree guys couldn't cut the trees because there was wires. I mean, to me, as a man, as a independent man, I say, society needs to grow up. see, we've molded, the issue for me is,
Right,
we've molded a society of gimme, 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 my name is Jimmy, and frankly, I can't live without the government. Well,
All right, tell us how you solved the problem at your house.
well, it's very simple. You know,
Tell us what you had there.
rather than go out and have 5 flat screen TVs in my house, I still have the old big flat screen you saw, the 4 feet wide, deep flat screen television. Rather than buy a $3,500 high definition television, I've got a Generac generator, which when the power goes out, the generator kicks on. Now this one is an automatic one. There's a switching gear in it so that when the power goes out, the switching gear automatically shuts off the main breaker to the street, and this one energizes. Now, this isn't one you buy at Home Depot and you plug your cords in. This one's automatically set up, and I have, we were talking before the show, 3 months worth of supplies of LP to run this thing. Because you can't, when you have either catastrophic weather, terrorism attack, or just equipment failure, you can't depend on the government to do something that's out of their grasps. I'm sorry. And
it just came to pass.
It came to pass. You know, rather than people have, what aggravated me, rather than have 5 flat screen TVs in your house, don't you think one of them, just for one, get rid of one of them, bring it to the pawn shop and buy a little generator? I mean.
Or you didn't bring it in with
Well,
the
I'll tell you what I
inverter.
did. What I did, 2 simple things, and Generac is an excellent machine, by the way, because I know about those, and I went out looking for them today. But I got 2 inverters, 2 800-watt inverters, one for the furnace and one for the freezer. And I was the only guy on the street with light. But it's no good just me knowing about this. That's why I'm extending this education to the community, because the community's got to understand that they got to take their own bull by the horns and take care of their own properties.
But do you see this?
Because the government's not going to do. CLMP is too big and too large. The generators are out of the state now. It's going to take longer to get these outages in for 3 reasons. Lack of material, lack of manpower, lack of qualified people, and the people that are out there too far away. They're talking about this in Hartford now for 2 days, and they haven't even said that.
Well, they've been talking about jobs for 3 months and they haven't done anything. So, you guys think that it should be part of the code? Is that true?
The what?
Joe says he feels that
any-
it's part of the
any
building
new
code.
construction
Any
is-
new construction should have a generator.
Yeah, any new. But see, like your generator is probably $5,000, $3,000 to $5,000. The average person can't. My little gimmick for the simple little family was only $200, $300. I can afford a $3,000, $5,000 generator, and I can put it in. But I'll use natural gas, and it's constant. It never shuts down.
Right, never
so
shuts
for the
down.
people that have natural gas, it's all right. But like even with yours, if you don't leave constant gas in that generator, it could freeze up on you. You know that.
Well, that thing has to cycle. I think it cycles every 3 weeks. It turns itself on and shuts itself off or something. I mean, it's not. It just sits there and you only start it when you need it. See, I think anyone who puts a generator in their house or an inverter, they should have a tax credit equal to the fair market value of what they spent. Because this is we've got to wean people off of dependence on the government. I mean, you guys know, you follow my shows, we've talked about this, you guys talk about this with me. You know, everybody wants welfare, everybody wants food stamps, everybody wants social services, and now what they do is they depend on the government. And folks, the government isn't solve-all, end-all. I mean, they just can't do it.
No.
Okay, Nick, what did you say down Baldwin Street today about the experience?
My closing comments at Baldwin Street today were, the experienced people are dying off. They're in the cemeteries. The new trained people are not being trained. It takes 15 years to become a lineman, electrician, or a cable guy. If you start at 20 years old, by the time you're 35, you're halfway through your career. By the time you get 50 or 55, you're getting too old to be in this business. The recycle period is not there. The cities are not doing it. The government's not doing it. We are in serious trouble.
Okay, we have to go. Michael,
Joe,
thank you for coming on.
Thank you,
Nick,
Joe.
thank you for coming on.
I'll tell you
It was a
what,
good show.
in a
Hopefully
couple-
we educated somebody.
Starting December 1st, Michael Festa Live, 6 o'clock on 1320 WATR. Maybe the 2nd or 3rd week of December. You guys can come on and we can do a whole hour on this.
Okay, very good.
And go back and forth.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll see you next week, and thank you for watching. Hope we educated you.